everybody? It's your man J Rock, and I am coming at you with another episode of the J Rock Show. And making his final appearance as my official co host on the J Rock Show is my brother Ceej. What's going on, my man?
Oh man, we're doing good. A little bittersweet. It's been a good run, but you gotta make waves sometimes. So be a good time if you ever been interested in getting on and shooting with J Rock. Just maybe now's your time. Now's your time. But J Rock, it's been a wonder to be on the J Rock Show with you for its inception and for this run. And what do we got for the final show?
So for the
my final show, not the final J Rock show. The final show that I'm like, yeah.
And I will kind of be going into. I will be kind of going into how the new show setup is going to work at the end. When it comes to guest wise, but for the theme of the show today, I figure we do a way too early player award edition.
I like it. I like a way too early SimWorld Prep Award. Is that what we're doing? SWBA.
Way too early SimWorld Prep Awards.
Let's do it.
All right, so we'll start with a Coach of the Year. So who is your SimWorld Prep Coach of the Year?
Ooh. Seeing these are hard because it is so early in the year. You know what? I think I'm going to give the nod, and this might be a little controversial. I don't think it's that controversial, though. I'm actually going to go with Coach Ceej from Gulf Coast Lockdown. I know they just lost 2 straight. Just struggling a bit right now, but the way that he's brought in a lot of new guys, the youngest team in SimWorld Prep, a lot of new guys, and got them all to buy in, and they're looking like one of the more dangerous teams. It's impressive, and it's his first year in SimWorld Prep too. So I think, again, way too early, but I'm going to give the nod to Coach Ceej right now.
And I have to agree with you on that one, but just for sake of conversation, I'm going to, go with someone else, but Coach Ceej, is my realistic pick, but just for sake of conversation, I'm going to look at Coach Isaiah Pope in Cascadia.
That's a good one. He certainly could be deserving of it.
Because, they had a little bit of roster overhaul, with losing Arthur Lattimore, as he went back to, his home state of Texas. Brought in Kevon Jackson from Reigning Trays, and the way he's just gotten him and Tyshawn McGrady, Tyree Wells, Daniel Irvin, Holbrook, Halliday, like everybody. I mean, you could just go on and on about what he's done with them. 11 of their first 14 games they have won, and I don't think a lot of people really at all expected them to be in kind of this situation. So I'm going to go with Coach Isaiah Pope.
I like it. So what do we got next?
So for next year, we got next award, we've got Newcomer of the Year. So Newcomer to SimWorld Prep. Now this one I feel is probably one of the deeper awards on this list because you look at all and not just 15-year-olds that have come into SimWorld Prep this season. You got guys like 16 years old, like Leonardo Fields, Marco Jacobs, who have come in and are absolutely lighting it up. But Ceej,
absolutely,
who do you pick as Newcomer of the Year?
This is hard. I'm actually balancing between a few names that I'm gonna shave down to 2. I think I have to go Kai Killens. I mean, the way he showed up, that is a legitimate pro prospect that we're seeing really bust onto the scene. His game is unique. His game is not something we see from a lot of guys in high school anymore, or really at any level of basketball, the way he works the post as a guard, his mid-range game. The only other name, I don't know if this was what you were about to say, so I don't want to steal your thunder, but the only other name that competed with him for me would Josiah Cook from the Yacht Club has been sensational. And
I mean,
Marco Jacobs, you said, I mean, that's a great choice, but I think all those names, I got to go Kai Killens on this one.
yeah, I mean, I definitely ain't gonna argue with you on that one. I mean, like I said, there's just so many different, guys you could go with. But this one, I mean, you know, the too easy of an answer would be Cooper Flag, but I don't want to.
That, yep.
I don't want to do
answer.
that. You know, so I think I got to go with the leader of the Queen City Kings in Marco Jacobs as my new.
He's been sensational.
Because
he has been sensational
for a Queen City Kings team that had all who their team is entirely different from last year besides Sky Durant. He's the only player that was on last season's team. And yet there were high expectations of them, coming into the season. They struggled a little bit out the gate, but Coach Skinny's kind of got them turned around. They're playing at 500 now. And in a year that has seen, a lot of teams, and players struggle from long range, Marco Jacobs, has been, to me, the unquestionable best shooter in SimWorld Prep by far. And for being a guard, he fills the stat sheet out as well, averaging 4 boards and 4 assists per game. I mean, like I said, you could go any which way on this one, but I got to go Marco Jacobs.
I like it. I think he's definitely deserving of that award this early. So,
yeah, without question. So, next up, we got Defensive Player of the Year, and this is another one that I think there's a couple different ways you could go on it, but I got to look at. I am going to give the nod to Josiah Cook on this one.
Yeah.
Four blocks and a steal per game. At 6'11", he uses his size perfectly. Rebounds at just over 11 boards a game. And he's only 15 years old, and that's the crazy thing. So I got to go with Josiah Cook on this
one. I think that's totally. 4 blocks a game is ungodly. It's ungodly. But I'm actually gonna go. The stats aren't crazy, but I'm gonna go with the man, the myth, the legend, the only guy who's in the top 10 in steals per game and blocks per game, and is an anchor for this team. I'm gonna go with JoJo Kearney. No Kearney, if you will.
Okay.
The numbers aren't as gaudy. 2.7 blocks a game and 1 steal per game. But again, sometimes you can't just consider the stats of it. You got to think about what he brings to the team in terms of that is sensational. So I'm gonna go no Kearney on this one.
Right. No, and I'm not. I really like that pick. JoJo Kearney has been, like you said, the anchor down low for this team. And speaking of JoJo Kearney, sources do tell me that he is close to making a decision on where he will play in SimWorld U.
Oh,
he is close to committing.
Do we have potential? What do we know his top 3? Do we have any more info, J-Rock? You're just gonna leave me hanging on that one.
If I had a gut feeling, to me, he seems like a Georgetown guy. He seems like an old school Georgetown guy. Maybe not off. I think of Patrick Ewing. Maybe not offensively, but like big frame, defensive monster. Think of all those old school Georgetown teams, Big John Thompson had with all those, mean dogs like, Alonzo Mourning and Ewing. Like, I see JoJo Kearney, best case scenario, being, he just screams Georgetown guy to me. So if I had to guess, that would be mine. But I think he will definitely be staying on the East Coast. That is for sure.
All right. I'm looking forward to hearing that announcement from him.
Yes, sir. All right. And now, for our last individual award, we got Player of the Year. Now, Ceej, I will let you field this one first. Who do you have as player of the year?
I mean, there's an easy answer. There's an easy answer that everyone wants to take, and I understand that. And whether he'll actually win it or not, I'm not gonna take him for the way too early J Rock edition of SimWorld Prep Awards. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not even gonna say
Okay.
I'm not gonna do it. Whatever you want to do, what you want to do, but I'm not gonna take him. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna go with another guy who has consistently been a superstar. I still think he's right next to that other guy who I will not name right now in terms of pro readiness. And I just love his game. I love his game. I love the way he plays. I love how smooth it looks. I'm going to go with my guy, Japheth Towns.
Okay.
Give him the award. Give him the award, J-Rock.
Japheth Towns, definitely has been right up there with, Cooper Flagg and Dylan Harper in terms of consistent scoring. I mean, he has just found himself in some absolute barn burning, old fashioned duels multiple times this season, especially as of late.
That he has.
And I think when I look at player of the year, way too early player of the year, obviously I'd pretty much say the exact same thing you said kind of leading into it, but I'm not going to go that way. I'm not going to go that way with Cooper Flagg, even though I think he will very well, be in that conversation. And I'm going to go with maybe not a little bit of a wild card pick here, but a guy who I think has definitely been overlooked in a sense as compared to, Cooper Flagg and Towns and Dylan Harper. I'm going to go with Trey Hyman.
Mr. SimWorld Prep.
Leading the
Big
league.
flex.
Leading the league in dunks at 75 dunks, a PER of 42, which I'm pretty sure is at or near the top of the league. Shooting percentage off the charts, multiple blocks, a steal, crashes the boards. You get him the ball in the paint, you are not stopping him. I mean, I gotta go Trey Hyman. I gotta give Trey Hyman some love.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I like it.
So, all right, and for the last segment of this way too early SimWorld Prep Awards show, Ceej, we are going to do our first team all SimWorld Prep level squad.
Okay. So 1 through 5, first team all SimWorld?
1 through 5, first team all SimWorld Prep.
I'm assuming we can pick the same guys, right? We don't have to we're not drafting. We're picking our okay.
Fair enough. We're just picking.
All right. Well, at the 5, I'm gonna go that guy. I'm gonna go Trey Hyman. He deserves it. He deserves it. I'm gonna go backwards, by the way. With the 5, I'm gonna go Trey Hyman. At the 4, I have to give him the nod here because it would be ridiculous not to. I'll give it to the guy Cooper Flagg. He can be in the all first team. At the 3, this is the tough one. This might be the tougher one because I'm deciding if I want to. Actually, this isn't as tough as I was originally saying. It's going to be D'Angelo Jordan. And then the 1 and the 2 are interesting to me because I can't not give the guy that I just give the way too early player of the year award. He can't not be on the first team. But there's 2 other guys that I want to give a nod to, but there's no 6th man on the first team. So I'm going to leave out someone that a lot of people aren't going to like, but I'm actually going to put Japheth at the 2. And at the 1, I'm going to have my guy, Benari James.
Okay.
I think Benari James deserves that nod. I don't think enough people are talking about how good Heartland has been. I don't think people are even recognizing that team has been phenomenal, and Benari is the centerpiece of it, and he's doing his thing. He's staying mature, staying out of the media. Benari James, welcome to my first team way too early, all SimWorld Prep.
Okay. And I think I'm going to actually agree with you on that front court with Trey Hyman and Cooper Flagg. I mean, for me, that's a no-brainer. Cooper Flag, you got to have him on this first team, regardless of how you feel, how people want to feel about him or say about him or not. He's the number one player in this league for a reason, and there's just no way of getting around it. But so I got Trey Hyman at the 5, I got Cooper at the 4, and I'm going to go a little out of position here, I think. I'm going to go Jaffet at the 3.
Whoa.
Technically a guard, but 6'6", he can kind of swing it, I feel. Add more of a scoring punch at the 3. And then, you know what? I'm going to go Marco Jacobs as my first team shooting guard.
Ooh, I like it.
So going a little out of position by moving Jaffet over to the 3, and also, the first 3 guys on this list are all, in their final year of SimWorld Prep. Marco Jacobs still has 1 more year. So for him even to be in this conversation is just absolutely mind-blowing and crazy. At my point guard, I'm going to go with the Rutgers commit, Dylan Harper. I mean,
that's the one that I left off that he deserves right. It, but I had to give the nod to my guy Benari.
And in Benari, Jaffet, Marco, Harper, I mean, that's a loaded group right there. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You could go any possible way, but I gotta show some love to a first-year player in Marco Jacobs, and then to me, Dylan Harper and Cooper Flag, they've just been too good to not be on this list.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You're absolutely right.
So, all right, everyone, that's going to do it for today's episode of the J-Rock Show. Ceej, I bid you a final farewell, my brother. Thank you for everything.
Thank you. J-Rock, it's been a pleasure. It's truly been a pleasure.
Yep, and I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that. Now, just so everyone is aware, the J-Rock Show will be moving to an alternating guest scenario next week, and I will have B-Ron on the show as my first alternating guest on the new setup. So y'all be sure to tune in next week for that. From Ceej, from your man J-Rock, this is the J-Rock Show. Thank y'all for tuning in, and as always, see the game, be the game.